If it fits in memory, it's not big data, by user final device. This might stretch the definition of tech support. I was supporting and enabling a large company's migration from on-premises data centers to cloud hosting. At some point I was in charge of migrating data from an old mainframe system into the cloud. By in charge I mean, another team designed a migration that would require an army of servers, complicated clustering logic, and a ton of code. It didn't work, and thus became my problem. The original team had used all kinds of fancy tools and design patterns to manage this big data. Many servers talked to a caching server. A backup of a database was exported to a CSV file, with the intention of loading that into a dedicated cache server. The actual data to be migrated was exported to 2 other CSV files, each containing nearly a terabyte of data. No, we couldn't just stream through the file one row at a time. It had to be grouped, chunked by certain values, and. I remembered a snarky line I'd found online somewhere: if it fits in memory, it's not big data. Hey! What's the biggest EC2 instance I can reserve in AWS? Solution: I loaded up a 128-core server that had 2 TB of memory. Loaded the entire contents of the database backup into memory. Took one of the 1 TB CSV files containing the data to be migrated, and loaded it all in memory as well. Spun through all the data, streaming it into the new system. That stupid server cost something like $300/day to rent, but it was actually cheaper than the entire fleet of hardware that we were supposed to use, and I only needed it temporarily, while the migration was running. Turns out it's a hell of a lot easier to migrate data to a new system when you can just load it all in memory and figure it out from there. Bonus: Top has a bug. You know how it displays CPU utilization on a per-core basis? So if you have 2 cores, the max usage is 200%. If you have 4 cores, the max is 400%. If you have 128 cores, the max is 9,999%. It can't display more than 4 digits. The wrong screwdriver, by user throwaway 34587613. TLDR, equipment fails because wrong screwdriver was used. I was sitting at my desk early on a Friday afternoon when my phone rang. It was Kevin. This wasn't going to go well. Kevin, I'm assembling the units for customer and one of the boards failed the testing. Me, swap out the bad board with another one. I'll look at the bad board later. Kevin, I can't. It won't come out. Me, what? Don't touch anything. I'll be right there. I worked at a small company. Everybody had extra duties in addition to their official jobs. The head engineer was also the network admin and handled all support for network issues. The head programmer was also the sysadmin and was tech support for the servers. In addition to my official duties, I was also tech support for all issues related to assembly and testing of our product. The extra tasks kept interfering with our real jobs, so more help was needed. Enter Kevin. Kevin was hired directly by the CEO, bypassing all of the unnecessary hiring procedures, such as verifying that he was competent. As far as the CEO was concerned, Kevin was some kind of golden child who could do no wrong. Despite all evidence to the contrary. Our company sold a specialized expensive product, each unit cost far more than my annual salary. It consisted of a main chassis into which multiple accessory boards could be installed. The boards locked securely into place, but as extra insurance against them vibrating loose during shipping, each board was also held in place with 4 tiny screws. For reasons we used posi-drive screws. Posi-drive screws have a plus sign recess that looks very much like the more common, in the US, Phillips screw heads, except the slots are parallel instead of tapered. A Phillips screwdriver will not fit correctly, and trying to use one will likely damage either the screw head or the screwdriver. The assembly manual had very clear instructions to only use posi-drive screwdrivers, that the screws must be tightened only by hand, and they must only be tightened until fingertip snug. Each assembly workbench had a copy of the manual. A laminated, full-page, bright yellow highlighted warning to only use posi-drive screwdrivers when installing the boards was mounted at each bench in a location that would be impossible to miss. 2 of the correct posi-drive screwdrivers were attached to each assembly bench with anti-static tethers, so it would be impossible for the correct screwdriver to be out of reach when assembling a unit. Also, there was /nothing/ in the entire lab that used Phillips screws, so every Phillips screwdriver was removed from the lab, so it would be impossible to accidentally grab the wrong screwdriver. We made sure that every multi-bit driver set in the lab contained the correct posi-drive bits, and all of the Phillips bits were removed. All powered screwdrivers were banished from the lab. Clearly, it would take a very special talent to make a mistake with this part of the assembly. Kevin apparently had that talent. I entered the lab to see Kevin struggling to remove one of the screws from the bad board, using a Phillips screwdriver. The screw head was completely stripped out, with nothing left for the driver to grip. Not just this one, but all 4 screws on this board. And all 4 screws on each of the other 2 boards in this chassis. And on all 3 boards in each of the other 2 units in the order. Kevin had used a powered screwdriver with a removable Phillips bit to install all of the screws. Instead of stopping when they were snug, he kept on grinding away until the screw heads were completely drilled out. All 36 of them. Where did the Phillips screwdriver come from? Kevin explained that he noticed that there were no Phillips screwdrivers in the lab, so he went to the hardware store and bought a new set for each bench. He also picked up a bunch of replaceable Phillips bits because they somehow seemed to be missing from all of the sets. And he brought his own powered driver from home so his hands wouldn't get tired. I had to use a tiny chisel to cut a slot into what little metal was left of each screw head, so that I could get a grip on it with a tiny flathead screwdriver. After removing the bad board, I was able to diagnose the problem. The board was fine. Metal filings from the destroyed screws had fallen inside and were shorting some connections together. Aftermath. I kicked Kevin out of the assembly lab and spent the rest of the day removing all of the boards, cleaning out the metal shavings, and then correctly reinstalling them. They all passed their tests. By the time I was finished, we had missed the last shipping pickup time for the day, so the units had to be shipped out on the following Monday. The CEO blamed me for the delay, because it was apparently my fault, not Kevin's, that the units were not ready on time. Information is overrated, by user the Rubik's Cube. For some reason the help desk and desktop support team where I work think information is overrated. My team is 2 levels above the help desk, and we mostly handle escalations from desktop support. 95% of the time tickets have been touched by both the help desk and desktop before showing up in our queue. And yet, quite often we get tickets lacking in information. For example, a ticket that arrived in our queue earlier today. Title: Website access needed. Description: User's PC is not connecting to the. Yes, it's incomplete. Notes: Help desk tech, user needs website added to trusted sites list. Trusted site list is grayed out and I cannot change it. Escalating to desktop support. Desktop tech, user needs a site added to trusted sites list. Reassigning. And that's it. The site isn't listed. Or even the error. To be fair, the desktop team can't modify the trusted sites list, that is something my team does. But this place seems to think adding a website to the trusted site list will fix any website error when it's almost never the solution. I sent the ticket back to the help desk. Needs more information. What website is the user trying to access? What error or message appears when accessing? About an hour later I checked on the ticket and see that more information was added. User cannot access shared drive x:/folder/folder, in which I learned that sales ==it, by user recommendation 8630. My last tale received a great positive response here, so I thought I'd regale you all with another war story from my role as the entire IT department for a company that does everything but IT. Last time we met Rose and recalled the PC upgrade that deleted a whole bank, and today we'll be meeting Rose's boss. Rose's boss, what to say of the man? Picture a Cadillac Escalade with all the chrome, cutting you off in traffic with golf bags in the back and no blinker. This guy is the man driving it. Naturally, thinks himself the resident expert on all things, and IT is certainly not out of his wheelhouse. He could do my job, but he doesn't want to. I exist as a matter of convenience in his mind, not necessity. $me, no recommendation 8630 himself, in the flesh. Certified IT adventurer. John, Rose's boss. We'll call him John because he looks like a John. The quintessential salesman, he'd look right at home, cigar in mouth, standing outside a used car lot in 1962. Think mid-50s, rotund, bald, perpetually single, and with a level of entitlement that would disgust King Midas himself. Son of the original owners of the company and the manager of the sales department. Struggles to inflate his own tires and is often confused by overcomplicated pens, but is also fully convinced that if he can't do a thing it's because the thing is stupid and doesn't need to be done. The event. This takes place during the human malware outbreak of 2020, smack dab in the middle of the mass panic and sudden shift to remote work. Before closing the sales and accounting departments of our office, operations continued to run as some of the services this company provides fell under the umbrella of essential work per the U.S. government, we purchased a laptop for every employee. I took one, created an admin account and a limited user account, set up some quick troubleshooting tools, read, TeamViewer, imaged the drive and deployed it to all of them, yay sameness, tagged them into inventory and issued one to everyone that would be working from home along with a VoIP phone and a goodie bag of cables and miscellany. Yes, even John. But you see, John being John and all, the same laptop as everyone else simply, wouldn't do. No, John took it upon himself to re-enter the office the next day, of course it was a Saturday, and retrieve the desktop computer from his office complete with all 4 monitors and, shockingly, all of the cables. So it's Saturday evening and I'm lazing about on the sofa with my fiancé, right about to click play on the next mindless Netflix binge when my phone rings. John, hey me, let me ask you a question. This is how John always starts conversations when he's unhappy about something, so I brace myself. Me, hey John, you know it's Saturday evening, right? I'm kind of preoccupied here. John, this'll just take a second, bud, and it's an emergency. This computer is a piece of expletive deleted. It's lit up but there's no screen. Me, with all of the sarcasm John deserves but maybe a touch too much for diplomacy, wow John that really does suck, I'll be happy to help you on Monday morning. John, now listen here me, you're going to help me because I expletive deleted pay you to help me. So anyway, I plugged in the power and the screen, cable, thing but nothing works. Me, now oscillating between rage and confusion, screen cable? This is a laptop, John. There is no screen cable. Are you trying to use this with a TV or something? John, oh, no, I don't use expletive deleted little toys like those, I need a real computer. So I went and got mine. And all the screens. Very proud of himself indeed. Me, face in palm, knowing full well I have to make this work or I'll never be able to rescue a shred of my Saturday evening, great. Lovely. Okay. Because I can't see what you're seeing, let's start from the beginning. You should have 5 power cables, they're all the same and it doesn't matter what each goes to. First connect each of them to a power strip. Then John, bowling me over, like he does, I know. How to plug things in. Fix the computer. Me, John, we have to start at the beginning. Remember the printer incident? That is a tale I will share another day, but John did remember the printer incident and my point was made. John, fine me, 5 power cables, plugged into a power strip. Other ends plugged into 4 monitors and the computer tower. Power strip is on. Good on him for checking this. I was, and still am, thoroughly shocked at his uncharacteristic attention to detail here. Me, wonderful. Now you brought your mouse and keyboard, and the little nub is plugged into the tower? John, yeah I've got those, but I also know they have nothing to do with the screens, so if you're about done wasting my expletive deleted Saturday night with this. Me, John, it's my Saturday night too, so I only want to go through this once. We are going to check everything. Now, the HDMI cables. There should be 4 of. John, bowling me over, like he does, I told you the screen cables were plugged in. All the cable holes are full on the screens like they're expletive deleted supposed to be. Me, brain gears spinning, all, the holes, ports. Those monitors each have 2 HDMI ports, each one should only have 1 cable connected to it. John, no, they all connect. Top left to top right to bottom right to bottom left, bottom LE. Me, interrupting this time, you connected the monitors to each other? Why would you connect the monitors to each other? John, how the expletive deleted else will they talk to each other and share the picture? You're the IT guy here dude, you know how screens work. Somehow, dear reader, I contained my expletives long enough to walk John through connecting the HDMI cables to the computer, and got the computer going. Then contained my expletives long enough still to open display settings and organize the screens. But I will admit to losing my temper an hour and a half into this just a second call, during the configuration of his VoIP phone. Now these phones are stupid easy to set up. Ethernet from the router into the phone and from the phone to the computer. Would you believe that the ports on the phone are labeled Internet and Computer? Apparently that, is not clear enough for some people. I.e. John. We resorted to FaceTime wherein there was quite a bit of no, stop, plug that cable into the top one. The top one. John, pick the phone back up and unplug that cable from the bottom port. It goes in the expletive deleted top one. But would you believe that he's really good at sales? Meanwhile, the fiancé was absolutely in tears laughing. My exasperated face, phone in hand and all, was our Christmas card that year. DR sales manager is too good for a laptop but can't properly connect HDMI cables to a desktop PC. VoIP phones are apparently future alien technology. Edit, grammar. Why are my emails getting kicked back, by users out 95? Just had this call come in a few minutes ago and wanted to share it. Phone rings maintenance department director on the CID. Me, IT department, how can I help? Director, hi, I want to know why whenever I try to send an email to person at company, the email is getting kicked back. Me, what does the kickback email say the reason is? Director, something about not found, I think. I deleted the emails. Me, can I remote in and take a look in your email for clues? Director, sure. Me, starts initiating a remote support session. Director, I think the most recent one I sent went though. I didn't get a kickback. Me, oh. Director, I was on the phone with person from company, and they said their email address was firstname.landstname@company.com and I didn't have the dot. Me, connected in at this point, can I still take a look to make certain? Director, sure. Me, searches for items sent to this company. Which one of these emails are ones that got kicked back? Director, all of the ones from earlier today except for the newest one. Me, okay, let's start at the first one from today. Checks the email. You said their email address was firstname.landstname@company.com, right? Director, yeah. Me, okay, so this first email was sent to firstname@company.c. Director, yeah, I forgot to finish typing that one. I remember doing that. What about the next one? Me, the next one was sent to firstname@company.com. Director, that explains that, and the others? Me, then you sent it to firstname.lastname@misspelledcompany.com, then you did firstname@company.com 2 more times before the one that didn't get kicked back. Director, I see. Thank you, I should be all set now. Me, no problem. If anything else comes up, just let us. Director hangs up. No.